Good afternoon, class. It's Karen Wenzel, and I wanted to go over the alternative case study, that option for your final project. I'd like to reserve this for students who do not currently work in a healthcare facility or work outside of acute care or the hospital, in other words. As I advance the slide, you'll see that the case study is a PDF located within the rubric and assignments area for your Nursing 400. So what I did was I took the PDF and placed it into a PowerPoint presentation to make it flow a little bit easier and you weren't overwhelmed by words. So on the following slide, you'll find the case study, and I've highlighted different areas that you need to focus on within the case study as you're thinking about writing your quality measure, patient safety indicator final project. So this is Longview Hospital, a fictitious case scenario. Longview leadership. So I broke this down into the leadership and their qualities, who they are, the organizational structure, and the competencies, which is all of those are important when you're considering how to approach what you're going to do or what strategies and actions you're going to implement to solve your problem, which you've identified as one of the measures that impact value-based purchasing or hospital reimbursement. The next slide is organizational characteristics. Here they talk about the financials, the reimbursement, some penalties that they're getting for readmissions, which is a paid for performance program for CMS. The name of the program is Reducing Hospital Readmissions, or the Readmission Reduction Programs, the official name. And it's a penalty program, so that is an option for you to use. What you need to do, though, is go into the CMS website because it is population based. So you can't fix all the readmissions. What you want to look at is the populations that the hospital would be penalized for if their readmission rates did not meet the national target. So you need to do some reading on that. The recent increase in number of HAIs and the decline in their core measures, both of these can be found on the CMS websites, or core measures can also be found on the Joint Commission website. We actually use the Joint Commission website for what is known as the specifications manual for the core measures that have been identified by third-party payer and Joint Commission leadership. HAIs you can find through CDC, the NHSN, and then those that affect value-based purchasing or hospital-acquired condition program, because we want to reduce hospital-acquired readmissions. Hospital-acquired conditions. And HAIs fall into two programs: value-based purchasing and hospital-acquired conditions. The next slide is the clinical unit characteristics. And what you can see here is specific qualities of the surgical intensive care unit work environment. So it talks about the technology, the surgical intensive care leadership. The leader on that unit, Marcelina, if I'm saying that right, excuse me, Marcelina, and a little bit about her leadership style and qualities. And then down here at the bottom, you can see quality performance and how the unit has specifically been doing. So we've talked about three of the programs: value-based purchasing, hospital-acquired condition reduction program, and then the readmission reduction program. So you can't talk just about those in general or think about it. You have to drill down into each of those and pick a specific measure to focus on. You'd be writing forever if you tried to tackle those 3 pay for performance programs. You need to drill into it, pick a specific measure that you can talk about in your project as you write your milestones for your final paper. For example, you may decide to pick falls with injury, as it's not reimbursed and it is on the penalty list. So falls would be appropriate, and then how you would approach those if you're in a hospital and with the current leadership of your acute care facility that you work in. If you choose to use this case scenario, then you would look at the characteristics of this clinical unit and see where they have opportunity for improvement in the quality performance area. And they do outline those for you, or it's on there. Clinical unit characteristics, it talks about the levels of education of the staff. And then on the last slide here, it talks about leadership style and dynamics in the facility. So that's very important, how you think about approaching and getting buy-in of leadership for your strategies or actions to improve the measure that you've selected for your project. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. My number is 757-718-4515.